And once again, a huge shout out to all of our financial supporters over at patreon.com/878survivor FM. All of our production managers, Shane Murphy, Tank Dazza, Hawks Hammer. Our producers, Red Freedom, thank you all so much for your generous support over all of this time. Next, a huge thanks to all of our YouTube members, all of our emote bandits, our 87.8 survivors, King Alobar, Raymond Normoyle, Marson P2, Melbourne's Adventures, Pettywetty, The Greedy Peasant, Sauerkraut, and The Receding Man. And our two podcast bosses, Kenny Baker and Foxy Pote. All of you are legends who help the shows go on each and every week. Thank you all for your support, even just by watching or listening, and we hope you enjoy this week's show. And we are live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And welcome to the spotlight on the one, the only RxlyaT. How you doing, buddy?
Hello. I'm good. How are you? How's yourself?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, mate. Just doing usual boomer things. I just realised I don't have my camera on, and I don't have the pop out going. There we go. Now we're back in business.
I would have loved to have had my camera work, but it's just bugging out, giving me the spinning wheel. So,
as we were saying beforehand, mate, sometimes tech, audio, video, and all the rest of it, it's an absolute bloody nightmare. It just makes things so freaking hard, especially if you're not like uber tech savvy. There are some people who go in with those banana voice meter thingies and all the rest of it, and all of that's just way beyond. I just like to be able to plug it in and hope the hell it works. And as
I agree.
I did my first AZ podcast in a while this morning, and oh my god, the amount of tech issues I had starting the stream. But if someone in chat could just confirm that you could hear both myself and my guest, that would be greatly appreciated, because I have this really bad habit, mate, of I get like 5 minutes into an interview and then someone goes, "Yeah, we can't hear anyone, Boyd. What are you doing?" And it's like, oh god, got to start again.
No.
And they like to troll me as well. They'll probably tell me that they can't hear me and they can hear me, and yeah, it's a bit of a running joke around here. But mate, thank you so much. We finally got here. We had plans for this last year and had to delay it, and I'm kind of glad we did though, because there's been a lot of movement in the survival gaming space at the moment. But we'll come to that in a little bit. I want to find out a bit more about you, mate. So tell us how you got into gaming.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been in gaming pretty much all I can remember. I mean, my dad introduced me to it on the Sega Mega Drive, I think, with Sonic 1. Sort of ever since then, I've always had consoles. I've like Game Boys, anything like that, anything that played a game I wanted. I was very fortunate to one Christmas get like a Xbox 360. I then thought I was going to be able to join like FaZe Clan or Optic by playing Call of Duty. I soon realised that was never really going to come to fruition. So whilst I was working in a supermarket at the time, I saw E3 2013, I think, and when The Division was first showcased, the first Division game there.
Mm-hmm.
And that game was sort of one that opened my eyes up to be like, okay, I could probably do a YouTube thing here that focuses on everything about the games I'm interested in. And I'm now here covering games, like not full time, because I have a full-time 9-to-5 job, but it's something I do in my spare time a lot. And of course, in between that as well, trying to play the DayZ mod on a PC that could barely run Solitaire. So,
and you actually work in the gaming industry now. What do you you're a programmer or artist or?
So my title is a content specialist. I at the moment work a lot with video editing, video productions, and stuff
Oh,
like
nice.
that. So
sort of community sort of
Yeah.
oriented work.
Well, yeah, because what happened was doing a lot of work covering the Division games on my YouTube channel.
Yep.
I obviously made like a lot of friends at Ubisoft and especially Massive. And then I saw a position come up whilst I was working full-time editor at RX Gaming, which is a UK YouTube gaming channel.
Mm-hmm.
And the position came up in Ubisoft in Sweden, and it made sense. I've always wanted to work a lot closer with a game that got me into the whole YouTube scene.
Yep.
And I guess everything just lined up. It worked out, and now I'm living in Sweden with my partner and working in the games industry.
That's awesome, mate. So yeah, it's something you really enjoy?
Oh yeah, I work with some really great people.
Yep.
And every day is something different for me, which is it's lucky because a lot of people, can complain about the 9 to 5 grind, which
Yep.
is understandable. I've been there. I worked in a supermarket for 7 years. This is something where I can go in and almost every day is going to be something different. So
That's awesome, mate. So you were a big fan of the Division when it came out, I'm guessing.
yeah, exactly. It was almost like if somebody told me or asked me what type of game would you want, I probably would have pitched that. So when I saw it, I was like, oh shit, this is it. This is finally the game I've been waiting for.
And what did you? Because I haven't followed the Division much. A guy in the DayZ community who is widely respected, Wobo, did some videos on it, and he had massive views on those videos. But his heart's in DayZ. But how is the Division going these days?
No, I mean, it's a lot of people play it. I still really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this, without going too much into work, it's still a really good game that has a lot of active players and a really nice community as well.
Yep. I'm just bringing up your channel.
Yeah, of course.
Because I wanted to look at you. You've got a love for this whole survival sort of genre, don't you?
Mm. Yeah, it's sort of like I mentioned briefly about playing the DayZ mod. It was the aspect of not really having your hand held in a game. A lot of games nowadays, it's like here's how you lay down, here's how you crouch, here's how you go through cover, here's how you aim your weapon. Whereas DayZ mod back in the day was just very brutal. It was like you're dropped into this world, try and survive, and if not, you're going to be starting all over again with no proof that you've actually got very far. Yep.
That's kind of one of the things that I've always loved about it. We were talking on this morning's DayZ podcast. Some of the people are saying, DayZ needs to bring in some soft skills. And I was like, for me, it's one of the things I love about DayZ is that there isn't any soft skills. It's just a purely brutal game that, if you screw up, that's it. You start again. There's no, I used Scum as an example in that in Scum you earn the soft skills, and that can impact whether you can actually see someone, how well you can shoot at them. Whereas in DayZ, like you said, it's a cold, brutal game where it pretty much just comes down to your own ability as a player.
Yeah, exactly, and it's that uniqueness. I mean, at the time that I can remember, anyway, DayZ mod was the first game I had heard about that really was this. It almost took the fun away from games because it was that harsh.
Yep. It doesn't hold your hand, and that's one of the things I love about it. But that's just one game in the genre. You've got a few decent videos on your channel. This one here, 139,000 views, 5 new survival games you need to see for 2021. And you even did a cover of the day before. You've got a fairly decent video there on the road to Vostok. Did you get to watch the interview I did with Auntie?
I haven't yet. It's something I'm going to be doing tonight, actually. So
And,
no spoilers, please.
No, and feel free to chop it up and do whatever you want with it, mate. That's I really don't care if people want to use the footage to help promote something or talk about something like that. Just knock your socks off if there's anything, because we covered a lot in there. It honestly looks great, and I said to him, mate, I'm interested in your thoughts on it as well. One of the things that I really like that he's done is, at the moment, everyone's doing MMOs in this survival genre. And he's gone away from that, and he's gone for a good old-fashioned single-player game. Now, have you ever played The Long Dark?
I booted it up. At the time it came out, my PC was like, I just got it for Christmas, and it was like a basic HP one.
Yep.
So any game struggled with it, and I've just not really gone back to it. But I've heard that it's like
it's phenomenal, brutally hard.
Actually,
sorry.
Yeah, go on.
No, you go.
No, I was just going to say that my brother, who isn't a massive gamer, he told me a few Christmases back. He said, "Have you played this game?" It's like, no. Like, it must be something interesting for somebody that's not into games to tell me about the game. So
yeah, it's phenomenal, mate. It is so brutal, so hard, and it just reminds you that back in the day, we never really had on-player or multiplayer games. Multiplayer was you and a mate standing playing 2-player in a game at the arcade, and then it kind of evolved, and you could have linked consoles and that, and then the internet came out, and it's great. I love being able to play against other humans, but there's still something about single player games, and I'm really excited with the mash that he's coming up with for Road to Vostok. Because you said yourself in the thumbnail, Road to Vostok demo blew me away, and it's a pretty basic demo at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what you get a lot of games now that when they enter early access on Steam, and that's nothing against this. Like, it's a model that does work for a lot of titles, but you play a game on Steam and it almost feels like one of those demos that you used to get on a disc in a magazine.
Yes.
Like, it's just it's not quite there, but the Road to Vostok one was like, oh shit, like I already see the vision for this game.
Yep.
It feels like a game that's going to hopefully do similar to Escape from Tarkov and really capture such a niche player base. I know it's going to be different with the, like you said, single player aspect to it, but I think that's going to be interesting as well.
Yep.
Single player, it's, like you said, a lot of survival games now are doing a ridiculous amount of players in worlds. We're hearing about Player Unknown's survival game going to have thousands of players in.
Yeah,
so to go from
that's an interesting one. We haven't talked about that much, so I'm glad you brought that up. But we'll stick with Road to Vostok at the moment. We'll come back to that one. But yeah,
if I'm right as well, this is being created by one person. Which
yes,
ridiculous. And the the progress you see almost every time they upload a dev vlog or a blog post on YouTube. You really are blown away. Like,
we're getting more info on this game made by one person than we know about the day before, which is being made by a studio. So do the math on that one yourself, folks. I've got more hope in one guy from Finland than I do in Fantasia, Fantastic, Fantasy. Oh, God. But yeah, no, it just looks solid.
It really does, yeah. I'm just watching I've got the stream up on on the other half of my monitor here, and I'm thinking like, oh shit, yeah, this was a great demo. I've not played it since the demo came out. I played it quite heavily, and then at the time it was only so much you could do. But that's exactly what a demo is. It's something to almost hook you and be like, yeah, okay, this is the game I'm looking to create.
Get a bit of feedback from people.
Slice of it, yeah. And I've spoken to him a couple of times in DMs and back and forth, because I've done a TikTok on this as well. I think it was one of my best best performing TikToks, and I said to the person creating the game, like, thanks for producing this game. I've been able to do this video on it and talk about it. Hope you don't mind, and it got some really good feedback from them. So
he's very open to feedback as well. Unlike another game that we'll probably talk about, which has a strict NDA enforced on it, which is just hurting it to no end. But he's very open, and he's keen for people. He's actively encouraging people to make content about his game, and that's fantastic because that's how you build a good community, which is something that you, with your job, all about.
Yep.
What else is exciting you that's out there at the moment?
There is
not a lot.
Obviously, I'm looking forward to. No, I mean the day before was getting a lot of let's say audience. It's getting a lot of attention at the moment, and I'm not going to be somebody that says like I don't believe in this game or I don't like this because of how they're marketing it. I'm not here to do that. Like I work in the industry. I know how things can work. I'm interested to see if it does come out and if it's how it's shown, of course.
I want it to be good so bad.
Of course.
There's really nothing that's got this sort of an environment, mate. Look at how stunning this looks. And if it lets me down, I'm going to be heartbroken. Even though I haven't invested any money into it, but we've had a bad run with some games. You and I were talking about Fallout 76 before the stream started. And if they screw this, they're going to do a lot of damage, not just to their reputation as a company, but to the genre.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I feel that the survival gaming genre does have this sort of early access stigma where it's paid to play our game early and then nothing really happens with them. And I feel that's why a lot of people are worried about the day before. It's come out of nowhere. It's almost a survival gaming fan's
wet dream.
Perfect game. Yeah, exactly. And it's exactly that feeling I talked about when I first came across The Division and thinking like, this is a game I've always wanted. This is almost the same feeling for me. It's set in America. It's zombies. It's got a really nice graphic style to it. It is everything. It's kind of like DayZ made smoother. Yeah. Because I think it's fair to say that DayZ is rough, and that's why everyone loves it.
Mm-hmm.
This game is like that smoother version.
This has a AAA feel about it, without the AAA name behind it. But it's just the alarm bells are just there. The company's background, and that's not to say they couldn't come out of nowhere and blow us away. But there's so many things. The footage has come out. There's been no live gameplay per se that you can clearly look at and go, this is live. This isn't something that's scripted or anything like that. The assets, people are finding the assets are similar to other stuff, which in itself isn't bad, but it's just. And then that whole stuff with, they release the updated trailer, then they release a video on their Fantastic channel that's pretty much just a promo for some video hookup planning software that they're shilling as well. And it was like, guys, I don't know whether it's a cultural thing, but they're making it hard to believe in them.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
When we were looking at your video before, there was a video on the side here that we could see the day before is a scam. I'm not going so far as to call it a scam because, until they did the thing with that weird video linking and promoting that other software of theirs, where's the scam? They haven't gotten any money from anyone. Not that I don't believe you can even pre-order it yet. So I'm not sure what the scam is. I know that's a bit of a clickbait title, trying to get people to come in. We even did a video ourselves. We called it the scam before, which is a bit of a clickbait. But it isn't a scam yet. But it's just, I don't know. I'm so wary. You?
Yeah, no, like I said, it's definitely come out of nowhere. It's I know they have the Prop Hunt game that, as far as I'm aware, performs really well on Steam. I know it had good reviews and a lot of people played it. But yeah, it has come out of nowhere. But who's to say that these things don't happen, right? Valheim came out of nowhere.
Yep.
Absolutely blew the scene away.
Well,
I guess you could say
let's even go close to home. Let's say Dean Hall and DayZ.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just going to mention the mod, and then the mod has turned into something that almost everyone's
Brendan
heard
Green with PUBG.
Yep.
King of the Hill,
these things do happen. It's just everyone's skeptical of them, which is, everyone has an opinion, right? It's not to be frowned upon. I personally don't like to go around calling games scams or mentioning how devs should do their job, because it's difficult for anyone to put themselves on the other side of the glass and do these things.
Well, I think there is one game that we can safely call a scam, Crypto Zoo.
Yes,
and I only mention that because don't forgive Logan Paul by Mudahar is there as well, but yeah.
I have watched all of CoffeeZilla's stuff, and
that guy is the bomb. I love his quirky style, and isn't it ironic, mate, that internet YouTubers are doing better journalist work than actual fucking Wall Street financial advisors and that. It takes a guy in a $10 million studio to expose clear scams.
Yeah, I mean that was interesting. And from the last update I've seen is that Logan Paul's gonna correct his wrongs from that, but
if you haven't watched
who knows?
Mudahar's latest video and even CoffeeZilla's latest one, I highly recommend. We're getting off point here, but he's sort of correcting it, but still got a long way to go. Look, I'll wait and see on the day before. I do want it to be good. I really do, because the more people we get coming into this genre of the survival MMO games and that, the better, because those people, if it's their first exposure, then they'll start to look at other games, and they may discover, you mentioned Valheim, Deadside, Survive the Nights. There's so many games out there that haven't been able to rise up, and the more people playing, because you've got yourself a short there. It really is time to play Deadside. I haven't touched it. I've got it, but I haven't touched it in so fucking long. But the way
I would describe Deadside is like a fast DayZ in a way. It's like a DayZ's slower paced. You have these interactions where Deadside's kind of like you go into the first house, you're going to get a pistol and a shotgun, and then you're going to have some fun, which I think is perfect for what it wants to be.
There's a lot of DayZ.
Really well.
The very popular DayZ servers are very similar to that. High loot, and there's not a lot of people who like the grinding, more hardcore style of DayZ. That's a much more niche thing. So that's interesting. The Deadside's like that. And it's got some nice graphics as well. It's quite a nice looking game.
Yeah, and from what I remember as well, it runs really well on a lot of machines. Like, you don't need to have the latest and greatest machine, whereas I know a lot of games nowadays really struggle with older tech. So it's definitely one of those games that you don't really need to worry about when it comes to having a powerful machine, which is good.
Any other ones that you think are underrated? Like, have you tried Survive the Nights or Miscreated?
I tried Miscreated again around the time of DayZ. I think it came out. God, I could get this completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure it came out around the same time that DayZ came out as standalone. That was 2013. Maybe I'm off, but I tried it. And at that time, I was very much like,
a year later, Miscreated. So, yep, you're close. Yeah.
I just remember being trying these survival games at the time and thinking, but this isn't DayZ. This doesn't do what DayZ does for me. it was that unique feeling at the time of like, I kind of like the idea of going an hour without a weapon, seeing nobody, and then being shot, but also hating it to the absolute guts at the same time as
Yeah.
well, knowing that I've just wasted an hour.
The other one I want to talk with you about as well, Dead Matter. We alluded to it before with the game that is doing the complete opposite of Road to Vostok. Mate, that's another tragedy. Like I backed Dead Matter back in the day. I was so excited I loved their vision, and it's just an example of, you know, I know it's hard for you being in the industry, but it's an example of how not to launch a game, isn't it?
It's certainly an interesting way to do things. I mean, each person has their idea of how they want to market their game.
Yeah.
And I think because it was such a we alluded to early access. You go onto Steam, you buy a game that's not finished yet, and you help build that game. It was kind of like, it felt like they wanted to do that with like a tight-knit community, but it came off completely wrong. And then the issues with like no Steam keys and paying for something and not getting it, it just made it like, it made it a pretty nasty time. And
then the PR nightmare in their Discord and the messages, and it was just, I do feel for them because, you know, I wanted it to do well. And again, you know, you kind of want to root for the underdog, you know, the little guy. And they were, you know, Quantum Integrity, a small little studio out of Canada. Again, you know, the sort of thing that you liked about the day before, set in a Western sort of environment, so you can actually read the signs, unlike DayZ, where you're always looking at the signs going, what the fuck does that say? And yeah, you get completely lost. So it was intriguing. And, you know, they had the whole bit of AI in there as well, and you could build relationships, and even the concept of that the server the server restarts and goes back to the beginning of the apocalypse, you know, every cycle on that. I thought that was interesting. You know, they're not just trying to create a carbon copy of DayZ, they're doing their own thing. And then to see it go off the rails the way it has, like even to the point now that the dev team has split, and you've got a bunch of guys off creating Vane, I think it's called.
Yeah, I believe so.
I had a look at the demo of that, and that was pretty ordinary, but it's early days. I'm not going to judge too hard. I don't know nothing about game design other than, you know, the basics I've learnt over the time. So I'm not going to criticize. I'm just going to say it is very unpolished at the moment. But give it time. I'll give it time. But yeah, Dead Matter was I hope they can salvage it, and I admire their tenacity, because you see every time they put a post out, the amount of insults they get, deservedly so in some cases. But let it go, guys. Move on, and they're still trying to deliver what they promised, and that's to be respected and commended, in my opinion. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunately it's always going to have the stigma of a failed game.
Yep.
People have their opinions. That's absolutely fine. I think one thing that a lot of people forget is that this game was going to DayZ 2 way. It was a refresh on what everyone loved, and then everyone got extremely hyped about it. The devlogs they were releasing at the time contained all of these features and stuff, and I think the train was too big for one person to drive. Sort of, it was just blowing up a lot more than they thought, and then with this massive outside pressure, I think things just got on top of them. I mean, I'm still following it now. I still, like you said, absolutely would hope that they managed to get out what they wanted, and that it carries on and then does flourish into a game that is respected.
Look at DayZ, mate. There's still people who carry on about the 2015 roadmap and things like that. You can move past hiccups, and that's essentially what it is. It's a hiccup. New studio. Remember that, folks. A lot of young people in it, and they made a mistake, but they're trying to right. They gave refunds. I got a refund, and I got the refund. It wasn't a scam. It wasn't a I will give refunds and didn't get it. If you didn't get it, follow up with them. If you still can, At the time they offered them, I said I am going to get my money back because I wasn't confident that they could deliver. But they're still sticking with it, and when if they get it to a much higher, better state, I'll seriously consider looking at it again because it is quite a nice style, and they're doing something different. It's not high-end graphics. Like I think even DayZ's got better graphics than it at the moment. But we'll wait and see where they go with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's no harm in, like you said, if you've managed to get a refund or if you're still thinking of getting one, then there's no harm just watching it from the fence. Just seeing, in a couple of years, let's see what happens with it.
So what was it about survival games that really took your fancy compared to other games like Call of Duty and stuff like that?
God, that is a good question because I can't remember a specific point where I was like, yeah, okay, I like survival games more than anything else. I just think there was something so different at the time. Like the DayZ mod was like is something we had never seen before. It was a massive multiplayer world with, at the time, decent graphics, and you could meet your friends, you could play solo. And I just remember really, really wanting to play it, but the PC I had at the time was unbelievably bad.
Yeah.
Or, vice versa. The game was too heavy for the PC I had. And I remember then... I can't remember if I got a PC that it ran properly on, or it wasn't until the... what's the word? It wasn't until the standalone came out that I managed to play it a bit more. But yeah, I just remember playing with friends, the different maps, the ridiculous encounters you have, the bugs as well was always something that you can definitely look back on now and laugh. Like I was never somebody to like hoard a load of gear in a car, and then once that car flipped off to Mars, I wasn't mad because that never happened to me. But you look back now and you think, yeah, it's kind of funny that these cars would fly across a map, or
still kind of do even after all these years.
Yeah, still kind of do.
Yeah, that's just testament to the strength of the genre and the name DayZ. That while some people are like, fuck this game, and they go off and they play something else, there are so many people who are kind of like, that's just DayZ, mate. You get used to it.
Yeah. I think as well, it's the atmosphere around the game. It's kind of like that weird escape. Like if you just come in from work one day and you play DayZ for a couple of hours, you find yourself in the woods cooking bear steak or whatever. It's kind of like that peacefulness.
Yeah.
Like of so much going on around you, but really there isn't anything going on around you. You're on your own in a different world, which is something I don't think many games do. And that's one thing I will say for DayZ is like the atmosphere of that game, I think, is yet to be beaten. I would say, but I'm biased, the Division 1's atmosphere of a snowy Christmas New York with nobody else around apart from people out to get you is also very close to having one of the best game atmospheres.
I've never played the Division. I probably need to give that game a shot. Just have a look at it because it did look beautiful. And, like I said to you before, with the day before, one of the things I like is that urban environment. Well, the Division had that. But I just never really got into it. I've never been huge on the extraction sort of shooters, and Division's got elements of that, which I don't mind. I think it's a great game mechanic. It's quite interesting, but it's not something I'm huge on. I just like the more sandbox, it ends when you die sort of game.
Yeah, exactly. And this is exactly why I keep going back to DayZ now. Well, to be honest, I have less time playing the game. I have a lot more time able to watch it. I love watching The Running Man. Ever since I moved to Sweden, I just didn't have the time to play DayZ as I would have liked. So I'm able to watch it a lot instead. And just the encounters, the atmosphere, the community as well behind it, the maps that are being made as well.
Dancer Jesus in chat. He's the Daisy dev team map guy, the environment designer. Said he got the Division 2 New York edition. It's only €18 on Steam right now. So yeah, I might have a look at that actually, because I'm playing a bit of DayZ, but I ebb and I flow. I like to mix it up, and that's one of the things that fascinated me with you is, I deal primarily with the DayZ community. The name of the channel, 87.8 Survivor FM. It's a nod to the default radio channel in DayZ, 87.8. And the first show that we ever did under this banner was the DayZ podcast. Sorry, I did my spotlight interviews beforehand, but I created 87.8 to do the DayZ podcast, and then I'm expanding on that. And primarily the people I deal with are die-hard fanboys of DayZ. But one of the things I've always done, even on the DayZ podcast, I've always tried to talk about some other games and that as well. And when I found your channel, it was like, great, another survivor, Scale Speeder, who was in here before as well. He does a lot of other content as well. But it's so exciting to find someone else who's not just passionate about, what is considered one of the granddaddies, although I personally feel Minecraft is probably the granddaddy of them all. King of Lobar. I don't understand how people have time for other games. Yeah. DayZ, that's probably one of the worst things about DayZ. One of the worst / best things. It's a very time intensive game. But there's so many cool games. I played Scum for quite seriously there for probably about a good 6-month period, and enjoyed myself thoroughly. But there's so many games out there. It's hard, isn't it, to give them the time that they need, because this genre is so time intensive.
Yeah, and I also think there's so many genres within the survival gaming genre as well, because of how, if you say to somebody, oh yeah, I play survival games, they're instantly going to think of zombie survival. Whereas it's not. We have things like Subnautica, even Minecraft. It's like this weird canopy of games. You have something like DayZ so far up there, but there's so many different genres below that as well. But yeah, I think DayZ is that unique one where it is you can't say, oh yeah, I'm just gonna have one more game, because that could be something from 20 minutes messing around on the coast with the Makarov to 6-7 hours later, and you're just in the woods somewhere struggling to find food.
I just thought of something interesting we can do, and I'm trying to find yes.
But one kind of issue, my biggest issue with DayZ, that's not been a game yet filled, and not that DayZ's left a void, because I still play it, but it's hard to find a game that's given me the same feeling as DayZ, and that's why I'm so interested in survival. I'm interested in The Day Before. I'm interested in Dead Man. I'm interested in Vane. Road to Vostok as well. These games are but maybe this does give me that feeling that DayZ had. Maybe this does do this thing that I wanted DayZ to do. So I always end up pairing it back to DayZ, which I think is a testament to that game being 10 years now in development, or close to that.
Well, 2012 I think was when the DayZ mod got released, and then late 2013 is when DayZ standalone early access was released. So it's been out so long.
Yeah, no, and it's definitely had its ups and downs, but it's so good to see now these past 2-3 years the amount of support it gets and the amount of people still playing it, and the community as well. Although as of lately there's definitely been some questionable people with some questionable opinions floating around.
Oh yeah.
But it's so good to see, and the content that's being produced for that game as well by the development team, and hopefully the future of the game as well. I know they're going to support it this year, but it'll be interesting to see, the years down the line, because I just can't see anything taking its place, or I
Look,
don't know,
it'll happen
beating
eventually.
it.
It'll happen eventually. Something
Yeah,
will
of
come
course.
out. But it does surprise me. Like, you mentioned it before. You said it before. DayZ is pretty rough at times. In some ways, very basic in some ways. You compare it to a game like Scum, which is incredibly in depth especially in like the medical aspects of the games of the game. But it's very, very interesting where that DayZ has managed to maintain its relevancy even after all these years. It's like, what do you put that down to? What's the secret behind its success?
I think it's uniqueness. I really do. I think it's for a game that is that old to still look as good as it does. I know there's some places where you realize that it's an old game, but I just, like I've mentioned so many times, I just feel like a parrot to myself at the moment. It's just so unique. I've not found anything that gives me the same feeling that DayZ has had, or even the same. Like it can be so different every time you play it.
Yep.
Like if you go back and play your favorite game, whether that's Legend of Zelda, whether that's Sonic, whether that, in my case, The Division, like it's the same. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to make you feel the same every time you do that mission, every time you do that level. But DayZ, it can be so different. You're going to have similar loot routes. You're going to find similar things, but in the way that you do that, in the people you meet along the way, whether you're struggling to survive because you're hungry, whether you're struggling to survive because you're thirsty, whether you can't find a weapon so you're avoiding people. There is so many different routes it can take. I just don't feel like we've had anything yet. I mean, yeah, Scum, I guess, is a game that's come close to it. I never really got into it because I didn't like the robot side to it and the weird drones thing.
It's interesting you say that, because I just saw what Studmuffin put in there, magic or other silly stuff in a survival game. I personally, I see where both of you are coming from, but I kind of like the fact that they're all trying something different. Maybe,
of course.
Maybe as a business decision, they should just try to do DayZ but better. But I admire them for trying something different, looking at different options. And Scum is getting a pretty decent sized community behind it. There's obviously Rust, which is bigger than DayZ, but very different in that it's a bit more casual sort of feel to it. I love watching Stimpy videos, and I see how quickly he puts a base up in Rust, and I'm like, fuck me, I couldn't imagine getting a base together that quick in DayZ. But you can do that, and that's Rust has done incredibly successful. I think they're a great example of how to do something different to DayZ while still in the same genre, but arguably you could say better.
This is what I said about the survival game genre doesn't just cover like one specific genre. It has so many in it. I would put Rust in its own subgenre of like base building type games. You have that, you have Ark. I'm sure there's others, but it's not something I found myself following down. It's usually the open worldness, the players, the non-story to it. It means something when you get somewhere. You have your own goals,
Mm-hmm. Right, I think I've got most of them. Give me 1 second. Let me know if I'm missing anything in the genre. Just making them the right size. We could play around with these as well. But what we are going to do is we're going to tier list survival games.
I thought it would be this. All right. I like this idea.
You do? I'm glad you do. I'm glad you do because I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time with someone, and I haven't had the right guest who's got a good across the board understanding of the majority of them. And yeah, obviously that you saw the long dark there, so you're not up to speed on the long dark, but you're aware of it and you understand the concept behind it. So. Guys, I know I'm missing. I think I'm missing Miscreated, so I'll find Miscreated. Have I got Survive the Nights? I don't think we've got Survive the Nights, so we'll have to find that as well.
Icarus is actually a game I want to go back and play as well.
I have not tried it yet, and that's to my eternal shame. But we will get back to that. Okay, so we need to find Icarus. Sorry, not Icarus. I'm pretty sure I've got these logos here somewhere. Although I put them all into our Discord. I've tried to get channels in our Discord to talk about all the different games. It's hard getting some of the people to step outside of the DayZ sphere, but
yeah,
they're missing out in my opinion. There's a lot of amazing games out there.
It's weird how you find your love for different games at different times. Like I'm a massive survival games fan at heart, but I will probably I bought the latest Call of Duty.
Yep.
More recently, for the past 9 months, I've been heavily addicted to old school RuneScape, which is 2007 and even earlier than that. Like I would consider myself quite lucky that I don't just limit myself to one game, which is very easily done, and I'm not shaming anyone for doing that. But yeah, there's a whole world out there of games, and sometimes it does take, you know what, I'll give this 10 minutes and see how it is.
And even when you look at it, some of these people who've made some of the biggest and best games in this genre, find out what they're inspired by. Our own Sumrak. He's heavily inspired by Stalker with his Demols mod. There's so many great games out there that just give them a try. Project Zomboid is another one.
Brilliant game. I can't believe I haven't spoken about that, but holy shit, that game is the modding community as well behind it. I really need to. I don't think I played it since towards the end of summer last year. I was every day after work, I'd come home and try and survive longer than 20 minutes in that game because it was. I think that's probably the game that's come closest to being like, okay, yeah, it goes DayZ and then it goes Project Zomboid for me. You know, like it came that close. And I think we spoke briefly about Dead Matter, and that's they've tried to take a lot of inspiration from Project Zomboid in a DayZ kind of way, like the perspective, like first person perspective. They want to almost make a Project Zomboid version of that.
Okay, I think I've got them all now. If I'm missing anything, let me know, folks, and we'll quickly find it. They're not going S tier yet. We'll come back. I'm just trying to find room for them all on my little whiteboard I've got here. There's your Project Zomboid. Survive the Nights. That was an interesting one. Bloody Frankie.
I'm not sure I've played Survive the Nights. I'm going to give it a quick Google.
I have.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, I'm following it. About every 6 months or so, I fire it up and we just have a look and we see how it's doing so far. Okay, so let's start. We're not going to do DayZ first. We'll start with Scum. We'll start off with Scum. Oh, Minecraft. We don't have Minecraft in here. We've got to put the Minecraft logo in. I think if we just go AR block, everyone will know which game it is. Fucking WebP format. There we go. Well, we'll actually start with Minecraft. And honestly, I don't think you can go anything less than an S tier for Minecraft.
Yeah.
It's just, I think everyone's played it at some stage. The complexity of that game. Yeah, when I've watched a few videos where people have created working printers, computers in the game. And I just go,
Yeah.
how does such a basic level game manage to have such complexity to it? It's insane. Absolutely insane. How much time have you spent playing it?
Yeah, I mean, I still go back to it every now and then for a couple of weeks with friends. It's just an incredible game. It is something that really developed the industry as a whole, I believe, into sometimes the game doesn't have to look a certain way. It can be very basic looking as long as it's got that something to it.
So we're both in agreement that Minecraft is an S tier?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Okay, Icarus.
The only argument I would have is that it's not survival as we know it compared to some of these others here, like Scum, Forest, Deadside, Daisy.
Minecraft had to walk so Daisy and Rust and them could run.
Okay, yeah, fair.
Yeah. Icarus.
I've not played enough of it to give
Neither have I, but what are your thoughts on it so far?
I mean, it's still being supported, and I believe they've just changed, because the one thing I was a little bit wary of is that you only had time limits for how long you could be on the planet.
Yep.
I believe they've changed that now, and you can do it unlimited. I think it's fair to put it in the middle, B or C, I would say.
I lean towards a C tier, just based on it's had a bit of a rough launch. So, you know, been sticking with it. But yeah, it's just I'm not seeing a huge community around it. But the people are still playing it. But yeah, maybe even kind of on the fence. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like I said, I would put it in the middle. So,
Yeah.
And I've not played huge amounts of it.
Ark,
a game I haven't played because I'm not a massive fan of dinosaur survival games, but it's definitely got, I think, B, because of how many people enjoy it and how strong the community. And Ark 2 is going to have Vin Diesel in it, so.
Miscreated.
Again, it was probably the first game that almost rivaled Daisy at the start. Like I said, it came out a year after Daisy. I didn't play it enough, but it had a good atmosphere. It had a lot of nice things.
Yeah.
It did looting differently, I think, to Daisy. I think it was one of those Tarkov type looters where you open a container and then you rummage through.
Yep.
So that was kind of new. What's your thoughts?
Look, I'm the same. I played a bit of it. I haven't fired it up in years. So I really don't know where they're at with the game now. I don't even know if it's still being supported. I think it is, but I'm probably gonna put it into the C tier myself.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
It did get hurt by just virtue of the, unfortunately for at the time it came out. DayZ was still riding quite high. Maybe if it had come out a couple of years later when the popularity of DayZ was plummeting, maybe it could have risen, but it never. I think it lent a bit towards the what Stud Muffin said about the magic-y monsters and all the rest of it. The infected were mutant sort of things, which does drive. There's a whole big genre around as realistic as zombie can be, but a lot of people like that the more realistic style zombie / infected, which is what they are in DayZ. They're not actually zombies, but yeah. So yeah. Project Zomboid. I have never played it, but everything I've heard about it is positive. You?
It would be a disservice to put it anything lower than A, but I also feel bad for putting it in A. So I think I'd put it between S and... Because it is... It gives me like a Minecraft DayZ type feel. Like, the graphics are a little bit weird, the perspective's a little bit weird, but it does everything it wants to do so well. But I think A is a fair shout.
Okay. Because that's just where I would have gone based on... when I hear people talk about this game, they talk about it with such glowing commentary.
Yeah, I think I'm going to download it again tonight to play it. Because every time... I have a Steam Deck, and I keep meaning to play it on there as well, but the controllers aren't as nice as if it were on PC, so...
Survive the Nights. You don't...
not played it.
I'm right now... I did fire it up again a few months back, and to me, it feels like they're trying to go for the DayZ brutality. Like when I first played it, when it first came out, I literally spawned in and I had, and this is something I hear said about DayZ a lot. I won't put it anywhere just yet. I will leave it over here while we decide on it. But it's a very difficult game to understand what the fuck you're meant to be doing. The confusion around this game also spawned from Frankie on PC did a video on it, and my God, it looked amazing. Like, I still remember the hype around Survive the Nights when that video came out. Everyone was like, oh my God. And then this game come out and it was like, what is this game? This isn't what Frankie showcased. Okay, this is really, really weird. So yeah, I'm
going to have to watch this Frankie video.
That's if it's even still up. I'm not even sure if it is. Pretty sure it was a sponsored video or something as well. And yeah, there was massive hype around it, but for me, it's D borderline F. I'll put it in a D because they are still working on it. So there is still hope. Vane's a hard one because it's still very early in development. Have you?
Yeah, I don't. I've definitely had a look at it. I created a TikTok on it, but I think it's unfair to actually put that in any category. I feel like it should have its own category of like unjudged, because it's not even like left a door yet. Like it's still really early on. It's just a few people making it, but open for suggestions on that.
That's where it's feeling at the moment to me.
Yeah, that's fine. That makes sense.
And again, a caveat, the game is still in development. It's very early days, but I'm just not seeing anything really so far that is blowing me away. But I salute them for trying and for giving it a good red hot go. We'll go from right to left now, across here. Stranded Deep.
I don't believe I've played that one. I played Raft a lot, and I get those two mixed up for some reason.
Yep. Should we have Raft in here?
But I would say that Raft goes in B or C for me, if that helps. We don't have to put it in, but it's... I can visualize it there.
Stranded is, for me, it's a solid single player game as well, and it's a B tier. It's just a good, decent game. Interesting mechanic, the sharks and the music changing, and it's a decent game. I've enjoyed the bit of it I played. I've got it, and it's fun. But I'm probably going to drop it down to a C. I don't personally feel an overwhelming desire to go back and try it again. I did enjoy it, but it's kind of, yeah. Green Hell. I don't know much about Green Hell. Do you?
I played it briefly. It's very in depth with some of the mechanics, and it has a story to it as well.
It's got that whole jungle vibe going as well, which is, I do want to.
Yeah.
I just, kind of like someone said on King of Lobar, I don't understand how people have time for other games. I just haven't had time to fit it in yet. I do want to, but I've looked at a bit of it. I think I may have even watched your video on it if you've done one, or someone's video on it. And some of the mechanics in it are quite in depth.
Yeah, I think as well, it's just had a pretty big expansion middle of last year.
Yep.
So I believe it's still getting support. Did they announce a Green Hell 2? Maybe I made that up.
I'm not sure.
I'm going to have a quick Google. Oh no, it was the update I was talking about. It's called Part 2. I think B is fair.
A B for Green Hell?
Yeah, like I said, it would be hard for me to pick between B or C. And because it's a Saturday and it's not raining, I'm going to stick with a B.
Good old Rust. I have never played it, but I have watched many a video by Stimpy.
So have I.
On it.
I've watched a lot of videos of how we took over this island, and it's like an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
And I've clicked it thinking, I'm going to watch the first 10 minutes, and I end up watching the whole thing. So for that alone, I think it needs to go. I've played it briefly. I've played it with work friends. I've played it with randoms as well. But it's one of those games where even if you're not playing, you're still technically playing the game. You need to keep up. You need to keep your base active. And of course, that takes time. So,
you know what? We need to do something here. Actually, give me 1 second. What am I doing wrong with?
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. RxlyaT.
I have no idea why.
I hate it. I tweak DayZ so many times, and I rarely ever get DayZ coming up in my list. I get all these other servers and people who've got it, but yeah, it's stupid the way Twitter works at times.
You'll want to put a full stop before my tag as well, or else it'll class it as a reply.
Before your tag?
Yeah, so if you just do a full stop there, it'll be a tweet rather than a reply. So if it's a reply, only you and whoever follows me will see it.
Let's see how that goes down with people. Okay, so we're back to Rust. Rust is, I honestly don't think you can put it anything less than A. And I kind of think, based on its audience, based on its longevity, based on its console, might have got to go as an S tier game. Even though you could argue it's not really survival per se. But I don't know.
I think I'm happy with A, personally.
Yep.
I think S tier, I don't see it as the same level as Minecraft. So that's the reason I wouldn't put it as S tier.
Okay, we'll stick with A then. The Long Dark.
This is where you need to take the lead because I've not played a huge amount of it, but I understand that it's a great game.
I place it as the S tier of single player survival games. It is so brutal. It is so unforgiving. It is so freaking scary at times. When the wolves are on you or the bear, my God. And they just, they've released a story mode to it. They keep on expanding and adding new maps to it. The blizzard is just, I'm getting goosebumps and my hairs are standing up on end just thinking about this game. Plus, they went with this quirky art style, which I just absolutely love. Have you seen the art style for the game?
I have. It is a very nice art style.
It's phenomenal. They managed to pull it off. Like you get some games where they, don't go for realism, and you look at it and you go, "Oh my God, that is so cheesy." It's God, that's ugly. Why would you do that when you could have such awesome graphics these days? Whereas they nailed it. They freaking nailed it. They kicked it out of the park. The Long Dark. And if anyone in chat disagrees, let me know. But for me, it is the gold standard of a single player survival game. It is hard. The hunting, just down to the fact that if you find you have to have a knife and you can adjust the difficulty, and it's insane. It's absolutely insane. B is saying in chat that Stranded Deep has 2-player co-op. That would be interesting to try, actually. I might have to give that a try. And I think we should save this and maybe come back and revisit it in about 6 months or so, mate, because we may have changed our opinions on it. But I think this has got to go up, and you're welcome to grab this and chuck it up on your channel as well, mate, if you want afterwards, doing a tier list of the games and that. But, we are missing one. We've got to put Dead Matter in here. I've just realised. But Dead Side.
I think B, personally.
Yeah?
I think it's a great game. It gets a lot of support. It's fun. It's really fun. And like I said, it's an easy pick up, put down type game. You can play it in multiple ways. You can play it the DayZ way, where you can just jump in and play solo, or you can do it more Rust style, where you build bases, maintain bases, base raid others. And they're just about to add vehicles, I believe, as well, which is something that's pretty cool.
I just grabbed Dead Matter.
I can't think of a bad word to say about Dead Side, personally.
Look, for me, it's more just... I'm not a huge fan of AI players in multiplayer games. AI like wolves, bears, stuff like that, I don't mind, infected. But AI players, to me, that should be kept for single player, like what Road to Vostok is doing. Having them in multiplayer games, for me, is one of the things that's turned me off of Dead Side. Why I have tried it. I do have a copy of it. But I just... there's that whole, is that AI? Is that a player? You've got to learn how the AI works and all the rest of it. I think the first time I saw the AI, I ran up thinking it might have been players. And there's a good one to add, State of Decay. We'll have to add that to the list as well, because that one I have played. I haven't played the State of Decay 2, but...
I believe there's a new update coming for State of Decay 2. State of Decay.
Well, we can do State of Decay now. I played the original only on the Xbox. I freaking loved it. I thought it was a fantastic single player game. Like I don't know whether you could play it multiplayer, but I just loved the you're responsible for your base, and you can lose the companions if you don't look after them, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I found the zombies very challenging.
I think it's fair to put State of...
I think it's an A-tier game.
Yeah, that's fair.
What do you know about State of Decay 2? Better than, well, B in chat saying better than 1 in just about every way.
I mean, if one's any, I think I played 1 on the 360 and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, same for me.
But that was before I got into survival games. So if State of Decay 2's tenfold on that, then I think it's fair to put State of Decay as the games in A.
Yep. Good old Dead Matter.
I'm gonna... I think it's just... We can just put this in D. It's technically not out yet. And they have wild plans for it, so I hold some hope there for it.
I'm going to be kind and I'm going to leave it there. But I think it's borderline F tier at the moment, just based on the poor handling of the launch. That's fair. The concept of the game is there, but we'll see where they go with it, because that's the one where they're migrating to Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah. And I also would like to say as well, like, I'm still in contact with the developers that are still working on it, and they're definitely a lot more transparent, and they're the first ones to now hold up their hands and say, like, yeah, we fucked up on a lot of things in this game, and here's what we're trying to do right. So I suppose I'll certainly give them time and see how it goes, but I can understand people's frustrations with that, and D or F is absolutely fine by me.
Yep. 7 Days to Die.
Played it briefly. I was gifted a code to try it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was unique. That is a game, I believe, that every night a bigger horde comes along.
Yes. Or every 7 days. I think it is. You've got the 7-day period to gear up, prepare,
build your base.
Really novel. One of the things I love is, and I hate about DayZ for the lack of, is booby traps and things like that. 7 Days to Die, another fantastic. It's kind of like
a survival game mixed with tower defense. That's how I felt when playing it.
And kudos to them.
With me. Yeah,
kudos to them for coming up with something novel, something different, and an interesting game mechanic, quite cleverly done. And what happened there? Let's just just cancel it. Just leave it like that. Okay. Oh, we've got Scum twice. Oh, get rid of that one. Scum.
Like I said, I did actually play a server without the robots in.
Yep.
And I enjoyed it to a degree, but it was it was a little bit too complex for me. But I understand. It's trying to do its own thing. It does its own thing very well. It has a lot of great updates. Every time I actually see one of the updates, I'm like, shit, I should download this and give it another go. I would personally go with B for myself. But you played it. You mentioned recently that you played it for like 6 months. And that
was a while ago. I think that was possibly either during or pre-COVID. and a lot has changed since then. I have found the dev process of Scum absolutely fascinating to observe because they've talked a big game. They've delivered in quite a lot. They've had to scale back in other areas, like the main city of Scum. They realised that it was a bit too much for what the engine could handle, so they had to close off a lot of it because it was just it was constantly one of the big problems was every time you went into that big city, your performance just tanked and tanked freaking hard. It was.
I mean, Daisy had those issues as well, right? The early churnos and stuff like
But then you've got the aspects of the game like the medical system, which I know I'm going to upset people, but for me it is an A tier game, borderline B. I think I'll go with you for B, but it's got so much potential. But it's its own worst enemy at times. And the reason why I drop it down from A to B, and this is purely me personally, but it's kind of what got said before. I worry about some of the stuff that's being added to the game. They've got these underground spider hives and this mutant monster with a baby sewn into its back, and that's really not my bag. I like the games a bit more simple, and it started that way. I didn't even mind the mechs. A lot of people hated them, cha-chonk, cha-chonk, cha-chonk. Freeze, something about biscuits, they say. And I do love the game. And B is not a bad tier. It's just, we'll wait and see. And I know they've got some big issues at the moment with their cars. But I love some of the aspects of it. The medical system, I can't wait until they release the upgraded cooking system, because cooking in DayZ, I'm a base bitch at heart, mate. I love being in a base and sorting stuff out. And base building in Scum is base building in Scum is S tier for me. It is just so well done, so much variety, so much options. But yeah, that's where it sits for me as well. Is probably a B, very close to A. And has potential to possibly be an S tier game as well.
Fair enough.
The Forest.
I'm gonna.
Oh, sorry.
Extremely excited for Sons of the Forest, which is the sequel to this game.
I have never played The Forest, but I've watched a lot of videos on it and thoroughly enjoyed the storyline.
I think it's fair to put Forest in A tier for sure. It has a huge following. It does the survival game slightly differently, which is good. It has a story if you want. It has some nice base building. Yeah, I think it's fair to put Forest in A for sure.
Road to Vostok.
I think this is a difficult one. It kind of falls under it's not actually released yet, but it is showing a lot of promise. I think, let's say it becomes the game that this developer wants it to be, with all that we've heard of. I think it could be A or B, pushing
right now,
C depending on.
Right now, I would leave it at a B at the most.
Yeah.
Just based on there's not enough. We know what he wants, and what he wants is fucking S tier for me. But until we see that, we can't put it there. We gave Dead Matter a D.
This is what I'm saying.
Based on what we know at the moment. Well, what we know about the road to Vostok is good. So that's why I lean towards a B tier minimum for Road to Vostok.
Yeah, fair. I'm not having Daisy go anywhere else apart from S tier, I'm afraid. You'll have to kick me off the show, but I will not back down. That is going S tier.
It is. Because, and, I know that's going to upset my Scum fans, that I've got Scum all the way down to B and Daisy up here an S tier, but you can't deny the game has, you could argue that Rush should probably be up here as well, I do think. But the reason why I don't is I haven't seen the survival aspect of Rust portrayed enough. And we are rating this more on survival style games as opposed to MMO, battle royale-ish, which is kind of the feel I get from Rust. DayZ, though, yes, there's some modded servers out there that are very Rust-esque, PvP focused and all the rest of it. But my God, you can do some good hardcore survival, and it's so brutal and unforgiving. Anything less, I agree with you. I do agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I could go on about the game, like the audio in the game, speaking of audio being like one side of the map compared to the other, and hearing a faint shot and being able to know that that's like 700 meters away. I think no other game does it better.
We did miss one, and we have to put it on here, even though we know absolutely fuck all about it. Where is it? The day before.
Maybe this is controversial, but I would put it. What are you thinking? Off the bat?
I genuinely, I don't fucking know. What they show us looks A tier, but what they're showing us is heavily scripted. And a lot of people have gone in and done some videos breaking down what they've shown us. And what they've shown us is fucking F tier. It's scripted fucking gameplay. Graphically, it's a solid B. What it could be is an S tier. But how do you rate something when we know more about Road to Vostok than we do about the day before? We know more about Vane, about Dead Matter, than we do about the day before. I don't think we can give it anything other than an F tier at the moment, mate, because we just don't know.
No, that's fair. I was going to say between. I was going to say between C and D, like literally on the line, because of what we would love to have in the game.
But we could do that same argument for Dead Matter.
Yeah, Vane, true. Yeah, no, it's very true.
And we know more about those games than we do about
fine,
this.
Yeah.
Based on everything right now, plus we need to have an F tier. With something in the F tier,
that's true. F is empty. Yeah, we don't know too much about the day before.
What it could be, what it should be. God, I want it to be good, but I can't give it. Yeah, I heard George Santos make the day before. If you're not into politics, you won't know who George Santos is, but yeah, he's a guy. He won the Republican Senate seat for New York, and it's all coming out now that pretty much everything on his resume is just complete and utter bullshit, and he lied about. I heard he also he's about to make a cure for cancer as well, and tomorrow he's going up to get the new Subnautica. Now there's one from DOJ.
Yeah, I mentioned this in the fact that the survival genre has so many of these subgenres, right?
Have you played Subnautica? I haven't. I know nothing about it other than it's underwater.
No, I'm exactly the same. It's underwater survival game that I haven't played. So maybe DOJ could rank this one for us, because I don't know too much about it. I know that it's underwater, know that a lot of people like it. It has, I believe, a story or some form of story like that.
Yep, DOJ, you have to rank this one, mate. We're waiting.
It's been out for a while now as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2018.
top 3 gaming experiences of my life. So, what you're saying? It's an A tier game, DOJ? I played the first one entirely in VR. Top 3 gaming experiences of my life. That's a
I wonder
big.
what VR gaming. Yeah.
God, could you imagine a game like DayZ in VR? It'd do your head in. Absolutely do your head in.
That.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think we've missed anything else major, but I'm pretty happy with that. I think we've done a pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Download it as a PNG. I'll send you that as well, so you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah,
mate. If you don't have Canva, and you're not but you say you do a lot of editing, so you're probably good with Photoshop, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I've definitely got means of figuring some stuff out. So
Canva is great for dummies like me. Like, you saw how easy it's been for me to create this, and it's a photo
I actually
editor.
made my resume or CV in English on Canva.
It's a great little program and very cheap.
It is really
simple
good.
to use. It's great for boomer idiots like myself. But mate, I enjoyed that. That was actually a lot of fun doing that. I've always wanted to do one.
That was good.
And I think that'll make a decent short video, a shorter format video for you. You're welcome to chop that up and put it on your channel as well. You can put a caveat in there and saying, in retrospect, I think that fucking idiot was wrong about this. So go and chuck Hey the Boy to 73. But I don't care, mate. Well, I enjoyed doing that. And we've definitely got to come back and revisit this because, as you said, so many of these games are in development and still being worked on.
Yeah.
And, some of them you and I haven't touched in a long time. So we may not be, fully up to speed on where they are at with what they're working on. But
I think what would be good is if me and you are playing survival games throughout the year, we come back towards the end of the year and do a tier list on games that released this year.
Yep. Yeah.
I think that would be really interesting. Then we can rank things like the day before, maybe Dead Matter is out in open phase or whatever.
And we'll have more info on the road to Vostok. He'll have had some of the village locations and that. We can look at that.
Sons of the Forest 2 would be out as well, hopefully. Maybe even Stalker 2 would be out.
Yeah.
I think that would be quite an interesting thing as well, ranking games from this year.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. But no, I think we did quite well. And I know there's probably games that we've missed in this genre, but I think we've covered the majority of the bigger fish in this whole genre. But no, that was... I kind of feel bad about Stranded Deep, but...
Move it to B. Go on. Finish off by moving it to B.
No. Mate, we'll leave it as it is, and... I'm going to try to make some time to go and check some of these titles out again. And then, maybe in 6 months we come back and we revisit it. Yeah. And have a look and talk about, the games that we haven't played, the games that, I haven't played Icarus. And, like I said, it's much to my shame. But, sorry, that's one of the other things. Speaking of Icarus, just made me think of something as well. One of the other things with Scum, I think they're cramming too much into one map. All the different biomes. You go from snow to forest to coastal, and you can do that in a 5-10 minute drive almost. And it's like, damn, that's a lot of diversity.
Speaking of snow, I don't know if DOJ is still here.
Yes, he is.
But months and months ago, he tweeted a picture of a DayZ map with huge mountains off in the distance, and I think it had snow on top. Is there anything happening with that? Because I still want to know.
That's not official.
I remember seeing it on the subreddit.
Not official.
No, I know it's not official. I understand that.
Yes, there is work on that, but he's not saying a lot. He's being fucking annoying and keep playing his cards very close to his chest on that map that he's working on. So watch this space.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm glad that there's still something happening with that. Because when
Yeah.
I saw that picture, I was like, holy shit, that looks so good.
He isn't able to spend as much time on that because he's still trying to learn the Czech language, and he has to go. He has to go and have lessons in learning Czech. Probably the same as you. You're probably having lessons in learning Swedish, I'm guessing.
Mate, to be fair, all I know is how to order a kebab, and I can get away with ordering a beer in Swedish, and that's all I really need at the moment.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Love it. No, this is a pretty decent ranking, I think. Yeah, I know there's arguments for some of these games to maybe go up or down a tier, but I think based on we both admitted there's a few games we're not 100% on, and that are in development. So watch this space. We will definitely revisit this. I'll try to save this. Just keep it here so it's something that we could just go back in and play with, because it's very, very easy to do. This whiteboard set up on Canva. So yeah. What is the game that you're excited for the most this year?
Interested and excited are two different for me. Interested in the day before,
Same,
because we don't really know too much, but excited for the Stalker 2 if that comes out.
Yep. Auntie said the same when I interviewed him, but I won't tell you what I said to him after that, because you said you're going to be watching the video. But yeah, he's very excited for that as well, because it's. I've never played the original Stalker. My son has. And he's a huge Stalker fan. He's read books in the universe and that it was based on. And but yeah, it's kind of one of those games that like someone said in the chat before about magic and monsters and all the rest of it. Stalker definitely goes heavily into that with the mutants and things like that. So yeah, everyone has different loves of what they do. So yeah. I think I've definitely got to go give State of Decay another try, because I really enjoyed the original. It was so much fun.
I think if there's one game on that list I want to try, it's probably Project Zomboid again. That game was so good when I played it, and there's so many mods out there now, and they're bringing animals to it, and I think basements or something. So I'm definitely going to check out the latest updates on that.
Long Dark, I can't recommend enough to you either, mate.
Oh, yeah, of course, Long Dark as well. Yeah. You did mention that.
It is just a phenomenal freaking game. So beautifully done. So challenging. The hardest mode, you don't get a gun. You can't even find a knife. You've actually got to find all of the ingredients and then go to a special part of the map and use the coal fire, basically the forge, and craft a knife. But you can't craft it without all the relevant tools. And you can't make so much. You can't even harvest animals without a knife. So it's brutal to try and survive. And with no gun, you can only use a bow, and trying to take down a bear with a bow is just insanity. Like, I could barely even take down a bear with the guns in the game. But yeah, phenomenal game. Phenomenal game.
All right, that will be my goal as well then this year, is to give the Long Dark a go.
I think for me, I've got to try some of these other ones. I've got to have a look at Ark. I've definitely got to give Green Hell a shot. 7 Days to Die, I've got to give a shot to. Again, it's only a game that I'm aware of. Deadside, I need to fire that up again. I want to fire up Miscreated. Same as Survive the Nights. I might have to watch some videos on it, because it's a bit like DayZ in that it doesn't hold your hand. It just get in there like, what am I? And that's that's one of DayZ's biggest bitches. Is you see from people is, I spawned in and I didn't know what the fuck I was meant to do. What are you meant to do? There's no tutorial mode or nothing like that. It's just, you're on the coast, do whatever you want. And the crafting is relatively rudimentary, but if you don't understand how the crafting system works, you're not going to work it out, be able to work things out.
Yeah.
So it can be its own worst enemy. So yeah. No, mate, I've really enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun.
It's been a good chat. Yeah, no, it's been great. I really appreciate you having me on. It's
It's
not
fantastic,
often
and
I
you've
get
got
to
to
do
keep on
things like
going.
this. So
Because like how did I lose your channel? I was on it before. Hang on a minute. That's probably the it's this annoying bug with my Stream Deck. It seems to be only an issue with YouTube, but I have to go out and I have to drop the YouTube account, and then I have to add it again because the buttons on my Stream Deck just don't work anymore for the YouTube chat.
Okay.
And it's kind of frustrating because I really enjoy streaming on YouTube, but it doesn't have quite the synchronicity that Twitch has with YouTube.
Yeah.
So it makes it kind of difficult in that regard. So there we go. I'll pop that up again. Open link in new tab. No, I give this guy a sub, folks. If you are interested in an opinion on other games that are in this genre, you've only got to look at his last few months. He's done Road to Vostok, Dead Matter, V Rising, Nightingale, more on Dead Matter, more on Road to Vostok, The Dream Survival. Oh, Rooted. We forgot Rooted.
That's a very
interesting.
Again, we don't know too much about it.
Yeah, but we did Dead Matter.
And I've spoken to the person behind Rooted, and they seem like a really nice person and really good ideas for that game. So I think that's going to be an alpha beginning. I mean, you can do this all day, though. You can constantly, there's just so many games. We would honestly be here for a year, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Constantly adding games.
Yeah. We've got to draw the line somewhere. But like I said, check out his channel. 14,000 subscribers, and back uploading again the day before his reel and releasing soon. I think that's a bit optimistic. The day before his reel. I don't know what we're going to get when it comes out, mate. It's literally. I want it to be good, but I've been burnt so many times these last few years, and
it's fair. I mean, it says it's coming out the 1st of March, so 1st of March maybe we can have a chat and see what we got our hands on.
I think
we got our hands on anything.
I think we've got to, because RxlyaT. For those who don't know, RxlyaT and I have been sort of we're in like an early stage of a courtship. We've been wanting, and this is it's almost been like a we've done our alpha test of how we get along in chat together, and I've been really happy with the way we go, because I want to expand what we do with 87.8. And I love DayZ. DayZ's my heart and my soul. I love Scum, and I love so many other games in this genre, The Long Dark and that. But it's hard for me to talk about those games on the DayZ podcast, obviously, because it's called the DayZ podcast. And I've been looking at, maybe if it was only even once a month, we do a show, you and I, and we talk about what's happening with all these different games in the genre. So
yeah, I'd be up for that.
Yeah,
I'm always looking at new survival games and stuff. So,
and it's still put out the usual stuff on your channels and that. But as you said, it's good to actually be able to get on and talk with someone who's as passionate about the genre as you are. And you could hear counterpoints or a different opinion on something you don't like about it. So someone else might be, I might be able to explain, well, this is why I actually like that. And the same for you. With me, I don't like it because of this, and you can go, well, this is why I like it. It's like, I never thought about it that way, because first impressions lasting impressions, which Dead Matter is definitely going to be suffering from. But I'm not writing the game off, mate, and it sounds like you're not either.
No, I won't be just yet.
And it kind of saddens me because I saw a lot of people when Dead Matter was all the rage before things went pear-shaped with their early access release. And so many of them have just abandoned the game. And I get it.
Yeah.
You do get a lot of emotion and attachment to some of these titles, but it's kind of shitty to me. They made some fuck-ups. And you said you've been staying in contact with them and they've admitted that. I think they probably need to be a bit more public. Like, I don't know if the lead dev has done a video where he sat down and, done the classic, I'm sorry, golden retriever beside him.
The YouTube apology, yeah.
He knew where I was going with it. But I think he does need to do that. I think they need to be as honest and as forthright as possible, and don't try to pass the blame off to anyone else, and just address the fuck ups. I still don't understand why they're sticking behind a strict NDA on gameplay footage, because that is if you happen to watch this Dead Matter team, I personally think he's a fucking morons for doing that. Because all that's doing is making people think that it's still terrible. And, Vane is doing the exact opposite, and I know that that's full of a lot of people that were in the Dead Matter team. Road to Vostok is doing the exact opposite. Transparency for rebuilding trust is a big thing you guys need to consider. And the more open and honest and transparent you can be about your game, the better. The more likely people are willing to come back and give you a shot. What do you think on that, Rixler?
I already mentioned that I thought the NDA thing was a
silly,
weird move.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then also that I think the lead guy came from a background of modding.
Yeah.
So perhaps this was his first time head of studio trying to create his dream game, and just didn't really, I don't want to say didn't have the experience for it, but maybe just didn't understand the complications behind it.
Yeah.
And that's why I also backed up and said, like, I know it's in writing that they've apologized. They've said they want to do things differently and wish they could have done things differently. And from what I understand at the moment, they are trying to right those wrongs with the future of the game and release something that they're proud of and that the community is proud of as well.
Mm-hmm. Hardwater Gaming's just put in chat, S tier for him, DayZ, Project Zomboid, Stalker Anomaly, Gamma Mode, Scum. Where did it go? Just disappeared.
Maybe they were finishing it off, or oops.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that's a great idea, actually. On the games that we've got in here, folks, feel free to leave a comment with how you would have ranked them, because I would love to see that as well from you all. But we're definitely going to tee up a time, and we're going to revisit this list after we've had a chance to get in there. Maybe we even try a couple of collab sessions on some of the games and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Because whilst these, the top three, even the top half, there's all some amazing games. It's still good to go in and see what these other games are up to, because competition is good. It constantly makes people have to lift their game and improve, and gives inspiration as well. The next generation of game devs for this genre are probably all playing these games right now and looking at them going, I love this from Scum, I love that from State of Decay, I don't like that from DayZ, I like that from Vane, day before, this, that, and coming up with ideas of what they could make. And maybe one day we will see a DayZ killer Although I kind of stand by the belief that the only thing that will kill DayZ is DayZ.
I would find it very hard that that's a game that kills Daisy. I think it's always going to be there or thereabouts.
No, definitely coming back to this, and I just want to thank you so much for coming on, Rxlya. Check out his channel. All the links will be in the description of the video as well, folks. For those of you in chat, there's his socials. Click on his link tree. Do you stream much on over on Twitch?
No, it's something I thought about. I've recently moved into a bigger place with my partner here in Sweden, and we have like a spare bedroom / half office, so it's something I've been thinking of, but not yet.
Now, you've got a few there in the past, but that's a long time ago. Good old Warzone. But yeah, thank you so much, my man. I really enjoyed this.
Thanks for having me.
It was a lot of fun. And I hope the handful of people who were in here live for it enjoyed it. But yeah, don't forget, leave your comments with how you would have ranked the videos, or sorry, the games in the SABCDF tier. And we will revisit this and definitely look at something where we can, I like that idea of maybe once a month we just do a show. We'll come up with a name and all that sort of stuff. And you're welcome to stream it as well if you want to over on Twitch, mate. And I'll just do the YouTube stream, and then we can both upload it. And because we're just sharing information about this fucking awesome genre. Survival games are the best. You especially as much as I enjoy some of the single players, but I love the MMOs where the survival aspect combined with the threat of other players. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant genre.
I could not agree more.
Yep. All the best, everyone.
But
sorry.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, take care.
Oh,
thank you.
No worries, mate. If you hang around, I'll have a chat with you quickly after. I'll just say goodbye to everyone.
Yep.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to end it there.